The views and opinions expressed on the Middle Class VO podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. Any feelings hurt therein are an unfortunate byproduct of the quest for infotainment. Also, please be reminded that concerted efforts have been made so as not to put anyone's knickers in a twist. Having one's knickers in a twist is not an objective or goal. However, if your knickers are in a twist and it persists for more than 4 hours, please seek out a physician. Moreover, if anyone were to feel besmirched by any of the commentary on the Middle Class VO podcast, it would be purely coincidental. No besmirchment is intended. Please enjoy.
Ask Kevin and Bobbi.
So, Bobbi, last week's podcast of the Middle Class VO podcast was such a huge hit.
Woo! Yay!
I know. People have sent us more questions. So we're going to do Ask Kevin and Bobbi Part 2 on the Middle Class VO podcast.
That's a good thing I have a big family.
If you need e-learning, we're just an email away. Corporate narration, tell us what to say. Explainer video, imaging radio, slinging local cars, reading IVR. No, we ain't no stars. This is the Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast.
Oh, we are doing it. Living that middle-class VO lifestyle. Kevin Kilpatrick in Nashville. Bobbi Maxwell is in Cincinnati. And Bobbi, it was such a fun podcast to do last week. Ask Kevin and Bobbi. Bobbi and I get asked questions all the time. And we thought we'd answer some of those questions on the podcast. And we had a bunch more come in. So we thought we'd do that again this week. Right, Bobbi?
Absolutely. I mean, we could go on forever with this. We could make a monthly thing.
And who knows, it could happen that way. Maybe it'll become a regular installment. But, Bobbi, I'm going to let you get started today. What is one of the hot burning questions that you've been asked recently?
Well, it came like this. Bobbi, question for you. How long average should I spend on an audition? Especially people in pay to play, because you get so many auditions flooding your email. I spend on the ones that I really, really, really want, like the big jobs, at least an hour. And I'll take a break and I'll come back. So, it could take me 20 minutes to do something that's just like, a 30-second or 15 or a 10 or something like that. And if I'm happy with it, I'll jet it off. It only may take me, if it's a tag, a couple of minutes. But if it's a longer project, especially like an explainer or something like that, I will spend up to an hour working on that and going over it. And like I said, taking a break, just literally walking out of the studio, coming back in, listening to it again, and you're going to hear it in a whole different way. How about you?
I think pretty much the same school of thought. I've heard so many different approaches too, and there's so many angles from which to attack. When you're talking about pay-to-plays, there's a speed element because you want to be one of the first ones in on the pay-to-play stuff. They might get 50 auditions in, and you'd like to be in the top 10, 12.
True.
So you got to consider timing on that. The flip side of that coin, when I have done casting through the pay-to-play sites myself, I typically will listen to all of them. Because, I'll put, sometimes they allow limits, and I'll put like, a number of 50. And listening to 50 auditions is not too much. I try to listen as they come in. I'll make little notes on, hey, this is a finalist or whatever. And that's how that kind of goes. So don't necessarily be scared off by thinking, oh, I got to get it in really fast. Now, when Bobbi's talking about the hour-long auditions, that's something that's going to come from your management or your agent when you have time and they say, hey, we'd like this in by 4 p.m. Eastern time. Then take your time with it and really flesh out, what the script is saying, how it's speaking to you, and how you can present that in the best light. And the other side of that coin is, too, I have been taught by coaches or told by coaches that sometimes, though, you can overthink it, and your second or third take is the money take, and you should just go with that and get out. So, there are many different angles to attack the audition and how long it should take you to do one. So consider those factors, and hopefully that will shed a little bit of insight for you.
Can I jump in real quick and add one more thing to that? I have learned to just start rolling immediately, even through my practice run, because sometimes I will have that best take on the first, right off the bat. So just let that baby roll and good luck.
Exactly. 100% agree with that. I start rolling right away. Like, as soon as I get the script, I'll just dive in the booth with a script and start practicing with it. And like you said, I'm just kind of rolling as I'm running through the script and running it down. And then you sometimes go back and go, wow, like my first or second take was really most natural, most convincing, and all that stuff. So bear that in mind too.
Give it a ba-ba-ba.
What do you got, bud?
Segueing from auditioning and auditioning for pay-to-plays, I got asked this question. Of all the pay-to-play sites, which one do you recommend? Now, I know. I've got experience with VDC, with Voices 123, and VO Planet. That's my experience. I'm only on VO Planet now. That's the one I'm on right now. Voices.com, you got to go with what, is right for you on that, because they do some unscrupulous stuff that a lot of us in the industry feel is unscrupulous. Their tactics. With that said, you can book work. You can book work with them. The same for Voice 123. Their practice is a little more transparent. There's not as many fees being taken away from voice talents on that site. And you can also book work, but, some people say that they're a cluster as well. VO Planet, I really respect Kevin West and his business model, and that's why that's the only one that I'm on right now. And then the rest of my auditions are coming through my management. It's just, you got to make those decisions, what's right for you. What do you think, Bobbi?
Well, there's some new ones that are popping up just actually in the past couple weeks that people might not be aware of. One that has been around that you didn't mention was Bidalgo, though. And a lot of that is European jobs or elsewhere in the world, because they're based in, where is Arm, Germany, I believe. Yeah. And he is launching a new one called Voices.net. Now, they're going to be very, very selective. It's going to be kind of like the top tier people out there. And even though he still runs Bidalgo, he's going to kind of take it in a different direction than Bidalgo. So if you've been around for a while and you think you've got what it takes, I will say that I noticed on his casting about the site that he said if you're with VDC, he will not accept you, which I thought was interesting.
And that's what a lot of people think about VDC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is Liz Atherton, who used to run the TAG, is now about to launch Cast Voices. And I believe it's up. I don't know that she is... that you can audition yet. I know that you can go check it out and sign up for it. It's Cast Voices. But she should get going. And, I'm sure there are going to be plenty other. I just saw yesterday on Facebook someone saying it's a female and male voiceover talent that they started up something this week that's geared towards millennial voices. And I thought that was very interesting, but very smart, because that is definitely what is really high up there when they're looking for voices lately.
Yeah, I saw that as well, and I thought, wow, that is a great tactic, targeting specifically the millennial voice. So it just depends on your approach, where you are in your career, what your goals are, what pay-to-play site is right for you, many different answers. And for some people, zero pay-to-play sites. There are people that are, making their living, making good livings just by hustling and marketing on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of them out there. Well, I've got a very simple one. It'll require just a quick answer that I got in. Somebody said demos when you're sending them out, links or attachments. And I've seen both ways on that. And I usually send both. Although they say attachments have a better tendency to go to spam, or people, or the producers or the directors or whoever's taking a listen to your stuff might not feel comfortable opening up an attachment. So links would be the best. What do you think about that, Kevin?
I agree with you there. I think if it's cold calling, I think you should just put your link up there. If it's somebody you have an established relationship with or you've had some sort of correspondence with, send both. The people that I've corresponded with and, are curious about hearing me, I'll send both. I'll send the demo and a link to everything else. I've sent my documentary stuff to a producer and said, here's my doc narration demo attached. And I said, here, and the link below has all my work. So I think that'd kind of be the answer to that. But yeah, that's an interesting point, talking about attachments and how those are subject to going to spam. I haven't thought about that a lot. So I, too, am learning.
That's what we're here for.
Oh, my goodness. I had a friend of mine call me and had a little bit of a moral dilemma with the voiceover and asked me about a particular voiceover, whether or not she should do it. This particular person is a vegetarian, and she got a voiceover audition for a fur company.
Oh, my gosh. No.
And did not know whether or not she should accept it. And she got the gig. She's like, I'll just throw the audition in there, and then didn't know whether or not to accept the gig. And I had an audition for a political a few weeks ago, and a very prominent figure, the biggest prominent figure you could think of politically. And I did the audition. I didn't get the gig. But I did the audition with conflicting thoughts. And then I resolved with myself, Kev, if you get this gig, you're going to take a big chunk of the money that you got from this gig and donate to one of your favorite causes. That's how I justified it. That's how I justified it. And that's what I told my friend that asked me about that. She's like, what do I do? I said, take the gig. Take the money that you earn from this fur company spot that you're going to do and donate it to your favorite animal charity or however you want to do it. And I thought that was the moral dilemma VOs. There is a way around that. And that's just something that I came up with.
That is so interesting that you brought that, or your acquaintance brought that up, because when I was in radio here in my local station, one of the biggest clients of the station was a fur company, a store. And they brought the copy to me, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable doing this. And they said, well, you have to. It's your job. And I said, no, I don't have to. Mm-hmm. There's another female voice here in the building that can do just as good a job as, and I refused to, and they didn't come back to me. I mean, would that client really want me on there if I had such a bad feeling about it anyway? So I think that's what they looked at it overall. But you're right with the political thing. But then in politics, and we talked about this before, in political voiceover, I consider myself an actor. So I have two conflicting feelings on that.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence.
Yeah. If you're on the fence, think about what I propose and think about, hey, take the gig and then take a portion or all of your VO money that you earned and give it to charity. Give it to the opposing charity if you want to, or just give it to the charity of your choice, something that means something to you. So that's how you might overcome a moral dilemma when it comes to accepting a voiceover gig or not.
Ask Kevin and Bobbi.
Awesome. I'm going to switch the questions over to technical now, or equipment.
What microphone do I use? What should my settings be at?
Not quite, but close. Actually, just came up because a Facebook ad popped up earlier this week, and I was actually with another voiceover person, and it's a new, I don't know if it's new, but it's in, I think it originates in Stockholm or something, but you can buy it through Sweetwater here. It's a stand-up porta booth, but you literally put your head in from the bottom. Have you seen that? It's called...
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have not seen this.
And one person said that on this ad that it took them a little while to get over the claustrophobia because it's literally like you're putting your head up into a pod, and you're surrounded. But then I had a couple of people that I read that said that they love it and they use it daily. It was called like Vox Ios or something like that. But Sweetwater has it. And other people around the country. But the question that this person I was with said, how do you feel about the porta booths and the Chaotica eyeballs? Are they effective? And Chaotica eyeball, I know there's a lot of them out there. They're given away at conferences all the time. Honestly, I think they muffle. I don't think that they really... I think you can tell you're using one when you send in your audition. So just be careful.
Yeah, I actually, I was given a Chaotica eyeball to try out and just to get my opinion on it. And I kind of agree with you, Bobbi. It does something to the VO. It does something and it colors it somehow. Maybe it is muffled. Maybe there's some high end taken away or something. I don't think it's better than taking a storage tote and filling that with some laundry and then voicing with your VO and right close to that and almost inside that. I don't think it's any better than that. I've got
the pillow fort. The pillow fort in a hotel room is very effective.
Exactly. And I've got actually one of those reflection things. It's oh, man, the thing weighs about 20 pounds, I think, but it's the big metal thing, and it's kind of curved, and then on the front side, it's got some foam. I've used that also, and it's a similar kind of a deal for traveling, but it's still not better than the pillow fort that you might create. So, those are kind of gadgety things, and you can save your bucks and just, get creative with pillows. And I guarantee you nowadays, if you Google pillow fort voiceover, you're going to see some people getting really creative and the ability to create some really, sonically sound recording environments.
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of people use their closets too, and they just use the acoustic foam or whatever else they can come up with. But you mentioned it at the top of the question. What kind of mic should I use? I've read over and over and over again from the tech pros out there that your room sound is so much more important than the microphone that you're using. So fix your space first before you decide to, spend $1,000 on a 416 because you've heard that's the best mic for getting rid of the extraneous noise around you. So fix your space, and there's so many YouTube videos on that out there that you can check out.
Yeah, exactly. And, I've got kind of a saying like for that, Bobbi, is you don't want to put on your icing before you get your cake made. And getting your cake made is getting your room right. And then the icing is your shiny new microphone. So, yeah, like Bobbi says, get that room right first and then worry about getting your, fancy microphone. Because then once you got your room right, you can budget $300-400 and get a great microphone and have a great sounding setup. So that kind of covers that question. Bobbi, I also was asked, and this is automotive specific. So if you do automotive VO, I had a friend ask, Kevin, oh my gosh, I just got a call from a client that wants me to be on in X market, but I'm already on in X market. And I pulled up the map and I said, let's see how far they are away. And to me, in automotive VO, if you don't know, you cannot be on in the same market with another dealer, with two dealers. You can be on in Jersey City, New Jersey for a dealer, but you can't be on in Jersey City for another dealer.
Okay.
You just got to respect, the clients. You can only be on for one dealer per market. And so my rule, and this was handed down to me by some VO legends, automotive VO legends, that said, Kev, give it 60 miles. 60 miles is a good radius not to cross over. And, the other thing is how much time. So let's say you're on in Melbourne, Florida, and you run in Melbourne for about 4 or 5 months straight, then all of a sudden crickets. You don't hear from that account again. Well, guess what? About 45 to 60 days later, you hear from another dealer or an agency that wants you on in that market. I was always told in the past, wait 90 days to clear yourself from the original VO, because these automotive VOs are typically going to run less than a month, usually just a couple of weeks. And, it's just a professional courtesy. It's not anything legal or illegal, but it just shows that you have some business acumen and that you respect the industry and respect what these guys are doing also. So, to double up in a market, the same market after you've been on, I would give it 90 days. It was kind of a two-part question. And so that's my thoughts on that.
That's good advice. I did something a little over a year ago after being at VO Atlanta that was suggested, especially those of us in automotive, is you buy the big map with the cork board. Put your map, in this case, it's the world, because I have a client, I have a couple clients overseas, and you just buy the little push pins and you mark the place on your map where you're marketing to is one color, where you're on, and where you've been on in the past 30 to 90 days.
Yeah.
And it's a very colorful map.
Yeah, and that's just, it's old school easy to keep track of.
Skip-it-a-ba-ba-ba.
What else you got, Bobby?
Well, this is funny because it just shows you how fast this year has gone. Bobby, everyone around me is starting to get sick. What do you do to stay healthy or fight a cold in this business? And it's so true. I never leave my booth. So I've become a hermit, so I'm never getting sick. Actually, I have not, let me find some wood in here. I have not gotten sick in a long, long time. And I really think it's because I do stay home so much. My husband and I have become literally hermits. I think my little thing when I met you and your wife down in Nashville was one of the last times I've been out.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, wash your hands and use hand sanitizer. That's what I do.
Yeah, do you? Yeah.
I do.
Seriously.
I'm a bit of a bit anal retentive when it comes to using the hand sanitizer. Every time I touch a shopping cart, every time after I pump gas, I keep it around me at all times.
Yeah. Same here. It's just so many germs, and I'm one that kind of, chews on my nails sometimes anyway, so
Gross.
I know that germ is going to get...
Gross.
Sorry! At least it's not my toenails.
Wow. That's a level of flexibility I can't even imagine, Bobby.
That reminds me so much when I found toenails on the board at one of my radio stations. I thought,
what?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh.
Toenails. And you can tell the difference between toenails and fingernails. It's like, wow, you had your whole foot up while you were doing your show?
That's nasty. That is so nasty.
But anyway, yeah, wash your hands, take your echinacea, and then there's all these different, I'm trying to think, grape seed extract is a new one that's supposed to be really good for keeping your immune system good.
Elderberry, too. I had a bottle of elderberry at the sink of my bathroom, and I would just take a little swig of that about every day. And I like the taste of elderberry. Some people think it's nasty, but I like it.
Try some more. The strawberries taste like strawberries. The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Snozberries? Who ever heard of a snozberry?
I take garlic tablets, too, and that really keeps people away from you so you're not getting the germs.
So you're not a vampire. Oh, my gosh.
More than you needed to know about me today.
Exactly. Well, I think we've covered some important questions, and I think we've gotten some great answers. And there's different answers to all these questions, but that's our little bit of insight there, right, Bobby?
It is. We might not want to do this anymore. It'd be banned.
Well,
no, great info, Kev.
On the next episode, we are going to be talking about radio imaging. Radio imaging is one of the best ways that you can make a good living doing voiceover, and it is so much a big part of the middle-class VO lifestyle. And we're going to be talking about that on the next episode, Bobbi.
Oh, yeah, and it's fun, too. I can't wait to talk to our guest coming up.
Make sure to check us out on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitter, the you know, whatever. We're blowing up on social.
The Twitter, the Facebook.
The
You
Facebook.
sound like you're 90.
My face.
What about the my face?
Have a good week, everybody.
The Middle Class VO Podcast is a K2 Media Productions production.
All views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests. The McVob jingle was written and produced by Kevin.
Co-produced and performed by Chloe Dolandis.
Additional engineering by Zach Zimmett.
Bobby's hair and makeup by Rebecca Adlita.
Kevin's wardrobe by Slippery Pete's Fashion Emporium.
All previous episodes are available for download on Podbean.
For the Middle Class VO Podcast, I'm Tracy Thibodeau.
I'm Lisa Lou Perry.
Thanks for listening.
And don't miss the next episode of
The Middle Class VO Podcast. The Middle Class VO Podcast.
You know, I take garlic tablets, too, and that really keeps people away from you so you're not getting the germs.
So we know you're not a
kidding.
vampire.
More than you needed to know about me today.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.